All right, so Shane here, dailyastrocat.com, and today is Tuesday, the 9th of December. So, how many shopping days till Christmas? Does it really matter? For some, it will. That's for sure. Astrology time. So let's go. The moon's void of course at 11:56. It's in Leo all day long. 11:56 p.m. That's barely even worth mentioning. Void of course, 4 whole minutes, right? The sun, still highly active. I get northern lights alerts on my phone all the time, seen across the northern tier of the United States, right? Now, I have something to tell you. The shadow period of Mercury retrograde has been quite interesting, okay? Because think about it. Mercury goes retrograde at 6 degrees of Sagittarius. It goes all the way back to 20 degrees Scorpio. As Mercury begins moving forward again, it goes through Scorpio. That's the shadow phase, right? That's that shadow period. That's kind of like where we're redoing some of the things that we may have done in Scorpio. That's digging, right? That's digging deeper. That's kind of like just making sure our communication is just doing the things that it's supposed to be doing, right? Going back and revisiting old patterns and just coming back to it and saying, okay, I did this. How can I make this better? Now, who would have known that this Mercury retrograde, there was a family secret involving a sibling that's revealed during the Cancer moon. Who would think that, right? And if that's not wild enough, my work phone crapped out on me yesterday. Yep, it did. Just had to go to the cell phone store, talking about my VPN or something like that because it's managed by my company. And then I had to call the IT department, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that line is suspended." I'm like, how am I supposed to do my job if that line's suspended? Let's find out. All right. Sure, it's just a mess up. Sure, it's a Mercury glitch, right? Some glitch in the matrix. However, that's what we got going, right? Now, challenges, they're mounting. That's really all this is, right? It doesn't matter whether you're the person that's finding about, some secret about your sibling or the cell phone or something other, because Mercury can be both that, right? Mercury is siblings, neighbors, neighborhoods, siblings, and personal technology, right? Still kind of wonky, right? Those sunspots aren't helping, right? The solar activity, the flares and stuff like that that are happening. It's nice if you want to get pictures of northern lights. However, what do we got going on? So, there's a grand fire trine briefly appearing today. There's also a T-square that briefly appears today. The purchase of the tuning fork that I made is even better than I had initially anticipated. And that was for body work, vibrational body work. It is time for all of us to get some health matters back on track. The communication difficulties, meaning my phone, has to be dealt with in an older school way. God. I actually had to use my personal phone for some stuff yesterday just to try to get it out of the way. Now, older school way, how do you mean, Shane? Talking about bringing back messenger pigeons or something? Whatever we have to do, right? Because today's keyword is relentless. Now, whether it's these Mercury things that seem to be relentless, still piling on top of us, or if it's us coming up against these barriers and then having to go through it in a relentless fashion. And the color is blaze orange. You know what that color is, right? All right, so the sun begins to close in on Mars, and it's going to fill our actions with powerful intent. That's because the sun and Mars are buds, right? They get along. And if you really look at what the house descriptions are and stuff like that, you could almost go interchangeable between Mars and the sun as far as what they do and what they mean, the house association and the planetary association, right? The two are kind of like back and forth, right? First house, Aries is very solar in nature because, it's that I am. It's what we do. It's how we present, right? That's right. So, fifth house is very creative, right? That can be a fire sign. That can be an Aries thing, right? Very creative. So, what do we got going on here? Mars is still facing Saturn, but is doing so with the energy of the sun in Sagittarius. big energy, right? Optimistic energy. Jupiter may be retrograde, but is exalted in Cancer, okay? It's bigger, it's better, it's always better. Oppositions with Jupiter are usually opportunities as well. So even with Jupiter opposing, whatever it is gets bigger, okay? Just bigger. Now, Jupiter in Cancer wants the best possible situation for us, a boss situation, right? We protected, productive, well-balanced, properly nurtured. Yes, this is how we want to feel. Not topsy-turvy, but then again, retrograde, right? Who knows? You're feeling a little bit topsy-turvy right now. Jupiter's involved. It will get better, and it will have a silver lining to whatever the cloud is that's being projected, if it's affecting you negatively. Now, our heads, look, there's a quest here, and the quest is for overall well-being to help us begin to drive our actions, right? Now, our heads may be still trying to be sorting out what is going on around us, because it happens fast. That's what change is all about. It's the only thing you're guaranteed. It's the change, right? But honestly, what's done, it's done. We have to find out why things are what they were, right? What happened before. And now it's up to us to reestablish our place in the new landscape that we're about to find ourselves in. Because change, right? Change is always happening around us. The landscape always changes. Now, from our standpoint, the moon is the fastest moving celestial body. She changes signs every 2.5 days or so. Change, right? That's a rapid rate of change. Compared to Uranus, for example, that changes only every 7 years, one sign, okay? So, and now, the rate of change that we're experiencing is what we should have learned to expect from our 3D reality. Okay? The timeline, this particular timeline, is compressing rapidly. For example, people stay in jobs for less times because they're always looking to move up and change their salary, right? The best way to change your salary is to change your job. 10 years ago, that was unthinkable. You didn't jump jobs because it would look bad on a resume. Now, every resume looks the same, jumping every 2 years. Almost look like professional athletes, right? Look, the timeline that is rapidly compressing, there's people trying to make more money, right? And that's why it's constantly looking like there's a constant change, because there is. The moon in Leo is reminding me that the limelight fades for even the biggest stars, okay? It echoes the moon's rapid succession of phases that we see every month. It's a complete cycle within a cycle, within a cycle, within a cycle. We end up with Uranus, Mercury, and the moon in a T-square. I hinted to this earlier. This is quick, this is fleeting, and this is hardly worth noticing. It just adds a little bit of extra drama to our late night routine. So, pick up on the health signals. Seriously, try it, okay? I'm going to have to convince myself of that. Mostly there for me, all right? Now, most drama when the sun is in Sagittarius is blown way out of proportion, thanks to Jupiter, right? The moon in Leo will accept even negative attention and will thrive on this drama because Leo lives for drama, right? Avoid the rabbit holes of what-ifs and instead focus on your goals. Here's where Relentless comes into it, right? Your dreams and your relentless pursuit of making your life better for you and for those you love. Keep that in mind. Better for you and better for those who you love. And that is what I have for you today. So here's a historical note that actually I very rarely state these kind of things like, battles or wars or something like that. But in 1775 at Fort Ticonderoga, New York, Henry Knox begins his historic transport of the abandoned British artillery, captured British artillery, to Boston, Massachusetts. Right. because that actually leads to the British evacuating Boston on a little holiday that we have here called Evacuation Day that only occurs in Boston. It's only noticed in Boston. March 16th. It's called Pre-St. Patrick's Day. All right? Just another day off to go out and do the Irish thing. All right? And in 1508, Gemma Frisius, he's Gemma Rezasoon. He's born in Holland, right? In the Netherlands, in Friesland. Now, he's a physician, a mathematician, and a cartographer. He's the guy that actually created the globe. He's born in Dokkum, and he died in 1555. Now, Frisius created or improved many instruments, including the cross staff, the astrolabe, and astronomical rings. They're called Gemma's rings. It's actually a little pocket sundial, and it's the lines around, basically it's the armillary sphere, right? Not the armillary sphere itself, but the rings that are around it is something that he actually created. Now, he's also known as a famous teacher. His students included Gerardus Mercator, the Mercator projections. He became a collaborator of his. Johannes Stadius, John Dee, Andreas Vesalius, and Rembert Dodens. And that is what I have for you. So, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for coming by. Appreciate and love every single one of you. Okay, so, Alice Blue Wonder, I have not forgotten about you. And you'll be hearing from me very, very soon, okay? Perfect. Okay, thank you, everybody, for your comments, your kind comments, and everything like that. I've gotten some unbelievable ones in the last couple of days, and it's heartwarming. Okay, I wanted to keep this short, and here it runs into one of the longest ones yet. All right, so what is today bringing us, Shane? Well, our color is blaze orange. And the key word is relentless. Be relentless. All right? You're going to see and feel a lot of changes. Just know this too shall pass, and it will change yet again. Today is the 6th. Happy astrocatting.